That classroom.
Whatever. I have a stream of text orders. Everything for the class. On any game. I run the damn thing.
All of it?
Yeah, it's really not that hard to get onto a game, but it's kind of the purpose of the class. He's just growing.
Did you see Brian's the secret underground thing to blow up? Yeah, I was like, you know, I'm not mad at like, for some reason, Brian and the brother. Yeah, look at my arm. Yeah. He said, like, don't ever. So he, like, started all around. I should be for VR. Yeah, you think I was secretive about it.
All right, morning, everybody. Morning. I just want to take a second just to burp or whatever that noise was. Check in for a moment here. So welcome, UAT Game Studios, spring 2016. Really excited for this upcoming this semester. We've got 10 teams. So everybody, have you signed in first of all? Make sure you sign in. Go do it now. And then, because it's on a time thing, so make sure you sign in and sign out. You'll see at the bottom of the agenda. Does everybody have an agenda? If you don't have an agenda, come up right now and grab an agenda from the front here. So we do this every Friday. I'm always kind of a stickler on there's no meeting unless you've got an actual agenda. So this is our meeting. Grab an agenda. Everybody signed in now? Okay. Make sure you're signed in on the right page too. Check with the class it is, game 281, 381, or 481. If you're not on the right one, you might not be counted in for attendance, so make sure that you do that. You know, some folks in the past haven't gotten attendance because of that. Okay, so first and foremost, my name is Jim Reichert. If you haven't had me in any classes before, this is kind of what I really love doing with Lynn, is working on the studio course here and production of games. I also run the Game Collab, which is an incubator and community advocate for video game developers. So if anybody's interested in starting a business on video games, you can talk to me about that. I've run everything from game jams, which we'll do at the end of this month with the global game jams, showcases at Comic-Con and things like this to show off developers. So if you've got game ideas and games that you want to show or want to be introduced to local developers looking for a job or anything like that, let me know. Try to do that. We've got a directory online on our website as well as a store of local Arizona games that we sell. So that's just a little bit about me. And Lynn, she can talk to you a bit about stuff. You want to talk now or at 11:30? Okay. So Lynn will introduce herself and go into a bit more during the job fair at 11:30. First and foremost, this is going to be a really busy, crazy semester. I mean, look, we're full, which is super cool. I think there's about 77 of us, 77 of you here on ground, and then I've got another 25 online, and Lynn's got another 20-something online. So you start doing the math, you start to see that we're actually a pretty big endeavor here, probably one of the largest studios in town. Actually, we are, if you want to consider it that way. So we've got a lot of resources. Very, very privileged to not only have everybody here, but also all of the different computers and hardware and software that UAT offers us. So really, you can stretch your mind and your limits and experiment here. And one of the things we really encourage is that you innovate and you try new ideas, and because this is basically a safe place to fail. If you're out in the industry and you've got a big team like this, I mean, you can imagine each one of you here is probably getting a salary of anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000. Plus the building and so on, it adds up. That kind of a studio would be very expensive to run. So you don't want to fail, right? That's really risky. You want to make a game that is good and that makes a hit. So what we'll do over the next semester here is we'll be going through the different stages of developing these 10 games, 5 from last semester, 5 new. First, I just want to say congratulations to the returning teams. So those are Mirrored, Oddity, Mortal Coil, Crimson Knights, and Happy Skies. So why don't you guys give a round of applause for them, because they worked really hard on that. We've got now new projects, which I'm really excited to see as well. We've got The Deadliest War, Island Survivor, The Couch Game, World of Marks, and the Cortez family. So why don't you guys give a round of applause for them too. If you're new to this process, they pitched at the end of last semester during our Greenlight celebration pitch event. They came up on stage, they talked about what their game would be, what they needed, how they would build it in the next 15 weeks. And us as faculty voted on bringing them on board because we thought they had a viable idea. So don't let us down, guys. It's going to be interesting how we divide everybody up, and we'll get into that a bit more. As you can imagine, 10 teams, 70-some folks here on the ground, plus another 30 or 40 online. You can get some pretty good-sized teams working on all of these games. So we want to try to make sure that it's distributed equally. We know, the programmers, developers, artists, different disciplines, and you want to make sure, again, that the teams are well structured. So Lynn and I will be working hard with you on that and making sure that you've got all the resources that you need to be successful. I'm going to go through a list here real quick. I'll tell you about the structure of the day, and then on the back, I'm going to do one of the few lectures that I'll do this entire semester, but it's to get you guys up and running. There are some differences for people who have returned now from last semester. If you know Lynn and I, we like to kind of innovate on this class as well as we go along, as we see things where we room for improvement, basically. So I'll go through that as well. So number 2, first, YouTube channel. Now last 2 semesters, basically, we started a Twitter account. Derek was master of that account. Blew that thing up.
As of last night, we passed the UAT's account as followers, so we have more followers than UAT does.
That's right, we do. So round of applause to Derek for that. We really like to make this feel like a real studio as much as we can as we keep growing, and so one of the things is to make sure that it's on people's radar beyond just us here, beyond just the university. So having a Twitter account, YouTube account, Facebook, all that is part of that effort. So if you don't know what social media is, nice question where you've been these last couple of years. If you do know what it is, I imagine you signed up on it, so follow us. All right, so that's what I can say. Sometimes we'll have like the Twitter channel up, and we'll see if you guys are actually following us right now. We won't do that right now, but jump on Twitter, find us, jump on Facebook. It's all for you as well, because the more people that know about this program, the better you'll stand once you leave this program. Right?
Ben.
Yeah.
So obviously our YouTube channel is the latest one. Who in here doesn't have a YouTube or Gmail account? Okay, so I just checked it. We're at 38 followers or 38 subscribers on YouTube.
There's more than here.
There's definitely more than 38 people in this room. So we need 500 subscribers to get some of the new features or the advanced features of YouTube. So like right now, it's YouTube/117 characters worth of crap. That's our channel, right? Well, when you get like 500 subscribers, it can be YouTube/UAT Game Studios, and it makes life a whole lot easier. So, in all seriousness, if you can go out and subscribe, whether you want to watch the videos or not, just subscribe. It's a click. It's not that big of a deal.
So say if you post it into the Slack, then everybody can click on the link.
Okay, Ben will do that. Thanks, Ben. But yeah, so if you go to YouTube, just search UAT Game Studios. Twitter's easy. It's just at UAT Game Studios. And Facebook is just Facebook/UAT Game Studios. There's a theme. It's pretty easy to pick up on.
UAT Game Studios.
UAT Game Studios, yeah. So yeah, like I said, we passed the school, and I think we're pushing up to 1,500 followers. And I've unfollowed about 500-600 people in the last week. So I'm trying to clean it up. I'm following like 4,500 people right now. It's a little messy. But yeah, please help us out there. Get your friends, family. Like it's 70, and if each of you got 3 people, and they got 3 people, and they got 3 people,
Heads up.
we're good to go.
Cool. So do it. I'm okay if you want to do it now. The other part of it is that I'm actually going to have all of the teams, all 10 teams, make sure that they have YouTube channels as well. And it's a big part of. Don't watch the videos right now. All the 10 teams are going to have to put up a YouTube channel by the end of today. That's going to be one of the hand-ins for the day. All right.
Get a Twitter account.
Yeah. So that basically, I'll talk a bit more about it and how it ties in with online. The online students that we've got are pretty passionate about wanting to be game developers, programmers, and artists. And this is one of the really unique opportunities for them in the country to be part of a school like this, where we've got this kind of program. So we try as much as we can to get them on the same page as you're moving along. Of course, you can imagine it's really difficult. Here are some of the things. First of all, they are required to put in 30 hours of work every week, where you will be required to put in 10 hours of work for this class every week. So there's a bit of a disconnect there. However, that's an opportunity because they can put in 3 times more of the amount of work that you can. So use that, right? On the other side, they are only going to go for 5 weeks, but we're going to, now we've been able to schedule it. This is the first semester. We've got 281 online, 381 online, and 481 online, all working within the 15 weeks that we are going to be working. So you should technically have the same folks throughout the entire 15 weeks. Of course, if you don't like them or they don't like you, stuff like that happens just like in any workplace. They might want to quit or you might want to fire them, and that's something we can talk about. But that being said, it's hard for you guys to communicate at the same time. And communication is key, especially when you're dealing with online. And you'll notice this if you've done any kind of projects online with anybody. Communicating is the only way that you're going to know what's going on. It's the only way that you're going to reduce those risks and fears and so on. So we've had them in the past create videos, stand-up videos weekly of what they have done, and then you watch those here online or on ground. But there's never been a kind of feedback for them. So what I'd like to do from now on, and you'll start this up today, you'll get the YouTube channel up and running for your team. And when you do your weekly, i.e. Friday morning stand-up, which will be about 10 minutes, when everybody in the team talks about what they've done for the last week and what they're going to do for the next week, you're going to record that through YouTube, stream it, and then it'll be up there for the online students from your team to be able to either join you while you're streaming, if that's possible, but allow them to have day jobs, so then they can come in later and watch the video on your YouTube channel. So it's kind of this asynchronous communicating. You watch what they're doing, they watch what you're doing, and it's almost just as good as being there at the same time, if not quite. So that's something we're going to be working on this semester. If you guys have ideas for that, let us know. Right now, I think the best thing would be just each team to have a YouTube channel and stream it that way. Number 3, one thing for me that I have had a pain in the butt for the last couple semesters is all this late work that I ended up doing at the very end of the semester, because some people don't hand in any work until the last week, and then I have to do an entire semester's worth of grading for that individual or multiple individuals. So I'm going to be a bit more strict about this, and it's going to require you to be in the shell more, but I'm not going to be accepting any late work after a week. So make sure you're doing your work on time, If it's a week late, I will still accept it, but after that, I'm not going to accept it anymore late work. I know you guys get carried away in actually just building and making and doing, and that's awesome. But we also need a way to record that, and we need a way to keep track of that, so you do in the end get grades. If you have an issue with that, just let me know. I'm also open to talking to people about it if something comes up. I'm flexible.
And Ben, I'd like to add to that.
Yeah.
For the noobs too, the GAM 281 folks, one of the most important things that we can help you develop is that internal skill to meet your deadlines. And that is why we require that you meet your deadlines so that you can get in good habits as you work your way through the studio courses. It's really imperative that you do that in your job, otherwise you lose the job. So it's very helpful to develop that skill now.
Yeah, I don't mean to be a stickler, but I do. So it'll build good habits, as Lynn just mentioned, later in the future. When you are working for folks, you can't just wait 15 weeks before you report to them. Right? Number 4, books. Since a couple of semesters now, I've added books, reading to these classes because we don't get enough time to lecture, and I want you to work, but I want you to also learn some of these fundamentals. And one of them is Agile and Scrum and those methodologies, and I'll go through a bit of that later in a couple minutes now. But 481, we'll be reading that book. I also really want you to emphasize this role of mentorship. So folks, again, I'm dealing with 381 and 481, Lynn's dealing with 281, but if you've been through a few of these courses before, you know some things. So act as a mentor towards folks who have not been through these courses before. Likewise, with any readings that you do, if you find something really interesting in there, share it with people. The 381 are going to be reading The Team of Teams, which I know is a little bit heavy about war and stuff like that, whatever. But get past that. The rest of it is about teamwork and working in teams in today's day of digital technology, and what it actually means to be part of a team. So again, read those books, do the discussions weekly, and share it if you've got some cool ideas from it. Finally, Trinity Jam is tonight, this weekend. I don't know if you want to say something real quick, Ben, on Trinity Jam. Sorry, you said tonight.
Starts at 6 and goes to 6 on Sunday. We actually have a few guest judges from Time Fire VR and Grid is actually going to be sponsoring games and actually hosting the games out there. So winners are actually going to be able to be played over there. So I talked to the guy in the order there, and so it's all set up. Cool. So it's going to be awesome.
Cool. So that's tonight. Thursday night goes for 48 hours. We really encourage game jams. A lot of the projects that you see on here have come through from game jams. People work for 48 hours as a team and build prototypes, pitch them at our Greenlight, and been successful in getting into this course. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out and go to these game jams. Anytime you get a chance to just sit down and do is a great opportunity. That being said, we're also going to do the global game jam at the end of this month here. For that, I've got like 13 judges, including the vice mayor. So they'll be coming here and judging all the different games. We've got sponsorships from GoDaddy, Toby, and working on Google right now. So again, really trying to beef up the jams that we have here at UAT so that you get these opportunities. IGF competition finalists, we had 4 teams that applied last semester. You guys, let's see, so Crimson Knights, you guys want to stand up real quick? Whatever, sure, yeah. Okay. We had, who else was on there? Happy Skies. Happy Skies.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had Great War. Great War. Anybody want to stand up from the Great War?
I was on that too.
Come on, guys. And we had, who was the 4th? Mirror. Thank you. Yes, Ben. Mirror, stand up. Cool. So, awesome, guys. Good showing. I think you guys did really well. Unfortunately, it didn't make the finalist list, but you guys probably knew that. However, if you do look at the finalists, I don't know why they didn't choose some of you guys. So, some of those games are kind of artsy-fartsy, and I guess that's the kind of IGF competition that it is. But there are a bunch of other competitions out there. If you guys want to get involved, and we encourage you getting involved in competitions because, again, great for you to get exposure, great for the program to get exposure. So talk to us. We can share a bit more about that. I'll put a link in the Slack channel as well for all the competitions and conferences that happen in the world for games. And so make sure you check those out. And those are great ways to also have milestones. Ben and his team all of a sudden upped it up a notch last time when they needed to apply for the IGF. I've seen that before with other teams, so those are great opportunities. So today, beginning, sign in, welcome. We've just kind of gone through that now. I'm going to go through the overview of these terms in a bit. Game Job Fair will start at 11:30. Lynn will be running that. That'll be basically getting all the teams and the folks up to speed on where the teams are at and what they need. And then you'll know which teams to choose if you aren't already on a team. So it's really important to be part of that and be there. I do want a meeting with the leads, product owners at 1 o'clock, and actually it should say 207, room 207. So if you're a lead, we're going to meet at 1 p.m. in room 207. Then the rest of the day is work time, and I'll kind of get into a bit more about what I want to see from you guys today. And then finally, at the end of the day, sign out and the kind of list of the things that I'll be asking for. List of your team members, so who did you end up putting onto the team, who the product owner is, who are your scrum masters, what's your release plan for 15 weeks, what's your sprint plan for the next 5 weeks, what's your YouTube channel, and then also make sure that you have your Slack team video channel set up. So I'll go through Slack and Microsoft in a moment here. Derek, did you have anything you want to say before I jump into?
The only thing I can bring up is, again, it's social media related, but one of the things that Ben and Lynn are going to be asking you guys for is a lot more just kind of data and stream from a week-to-week process. So, you know, some weeks they might be asking you for, hey, give us a 1-paragraph full description of some gameplay elements. They might ask you for screenshots or videos or different things like that. Because my goal this term is to promote you guys as much as I can. Unfortunately, I need information to do that, right? So he's going to set up something in Slack. There'll just be a repository that I can go to and just pull, oh, look, here's a cool screenshot. Each day I'll do 2 teams and I'll post it out to Twitter or something like that. So be expecting it and be thinking about it as you're working. And remember, we're a development studio. This isn't just about release games. So as you're working, if you're like, wow, you know, I've got this level up and running, take a screenshot of the editor in work and dump it in there. And it'll just give me a repository of information I can pull from to help promote you guys and get you known in the gaming world. So I can say, you know, like I said, we have like 1,500 followers. If I track the data, 85% of them's top interest is computer gaming and console gaming. So the people that follow us are into games, and so that's the people you want to see your stuff. So be expecting that. I dictated that to them, so if you hate it, blame me. Don't blame your instructors. It's my fault. A lot of things they do is my fault. They just get blamed. But no, I'm looking forward to it. 10 projects. I mean, how many studios are running 10 simultaneous projects? That's just insane. Good luck.
That's either a good thing or a bad time.
Yeah, this is going to be spectacular. It could be spectacularly bad or spectacularly good, but it's going to be a fun train ride. So, I'm excited.
Thanks, Derek. Yeah, I mean, if anybody's ever done marketing before, it's really you'll know it's really hard to do it if you don't have assets and content. So that's kind of what we're going to be asking for. One quick thing, just Lynn pointed out, the leads might still be doing presentations around 1, so I'm going to switch that leads meeting to 3:30, so that way you guys don't have to worry about that. So make sure you get your presentations and stuff done and work with setting up your teams, and we'll meet at 3:30 instead of 1, also in 207. Okay, so I'm going to stop pacing around for now. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how we see this term kind of unfolding and the kind of methodology behind it. So if you knew it or not, Q and I last term were Scrum certified, Scrum Master certified. The rest of the crew were Scrum Master certified.
We are no longer Scrum Master certified as of Sunday.
Until last weekend.
I've got permission to get us recertified. We just got to pay the fee. But yeah, I actually lied to all my students this week saying, I'm a Scrum Master. No, expired on Sunday.
So what is Agile and what is Scrum? So again, this was the book that 481 students are going to be reading. It's a great kind of Bible to understanding a lot about project management, especially tech project management. And what's curious about it is how you apply it to games, because games are quite large, very creative side of things. A lot of tech projects aren't so creative. They're more about just executing. So this is a great book to actually, that kind of bridges that between the true Agile and then game development. So this is kind of what we're going to be following along with, and you can dive into a lot of these terms more in depth on here. But in the meanwhile, I've given you kind of this cheat sheet on the back of the agenda today, with the main terms I kind of want you guys to know as we go along. So people, you'll usually say, "Oh, I need a task, and who's going to give me a task? And who's going to give me a task, and I'm going to do that." Well, there are actually some ways that we can move forward and understand where you're at. We can kind of see about things like velocity and stuff that will tell us, are you on the right track? Do you need to up what you're doing or not? What's that? Darn it. Okay. So first and foremost, I'm going to go through these and then tell you a little bit how they fit into what we're doing now and how some of the grade book, how some of the course shell has changed. So agile is this idea of iterating, right? And as you go along, we know that you don't want to just do waterfall production, which is this idea of building, never looking back until the end. And at the end, you have it finished, but then you look at it and you go, oh, shoot, we kind of built this thing wrong. Nobody wants this anymore. We put in too many features. We never bug checked it. Now we're going to miss our deadline and the whole project fails. So instead, we're going to do this. You can think about smaller loops and iterations of design, build, check it, design, build, check it, and so on, right? This is kind of a methodology that I've been using all over the place these days, including things like startup culture and starting businesses. So one of the things that'll help us understand our velocity or where we're going are burn down charts. I'm just going to go here. So burn down charts are we'll dive into these a bit more, but you can see in Axosoft, there's a feature actually where each team, I'm using yours, if you don't mind. That's fine. You have a dashboard function, and you can just grab a burn down chart, throw it in here, set your parameters on here, and basically it'll show you the time that you've got and how long you've spent on it, and how many, and again, time, t-shirt sizes, whatever you want to call them, different increments of making things, of doing stuff. You'll start to see hopefully a trend going down to 0, which means that you've completed the amount of tasks that you wanted to within that time frame. So that's a big part of it too, is identifying that we have time frames that we want to work within. So our daily Scrum meetings we've kind of done this already every Friday. In the past, you meet, you kind of sit as a team, and you ask these 3 questions. So what have I done since last Scrum meeting? What have I done what will I do before the next Scrum meeting? And what's preventing me and what's kind of getting in my way from doing that? Now, normally you would do this every single day, because normally as a project and a team, you would be working every single day, but we only kind of meet here once a week, right? So we'll do these every Friday. You'll get in your groups, and each individual person will go through these and answer these questions. And that's what I was telling you about, where we'd like to record that. So that'll be video recorded on YouTube, streamed, and it'll be there for the online students to check that out. Online students will be giving you a video of this as well that you'll incorporate into that. So that's how you're going to know if you're on schedule or not. And the folks who aren't doing anything will sit there and say, oh, I haven't done anything. And then you'll know, and vice versa. So the big part of it, though, is to try to help each other out, not to try to point fingers at people. And that's where you'll work harder and stronger as a team. Any kind of impediments that you do get, talk about them with the team right then and there. If you need more time to talk about outside of the 10 minutes, try to find that time, but don't interrupt. Because, again, working for the sprint is going to be really important to stay on task. Product backlog. Does anybody know what product backlog is? Have you ever heard of that before? Adam? Okay, basically it's a list of what you're going to do, right? So as we say here, product backlog is requirements for a system expressed as a prioritized list of product backlog items. These included both functional and non-functional customer requirements, as well as technical team generated requirements. Customer requirements are going to be the things that you want in your game that your player is going to want to do, right? So we talk about user stories. What is a user of your game or your product going to want to do? Are they going to want to jump around in this game? Are they going to want to fly in this game? Again, think about who your demographic is out of any of these games and who you're trying to sell it to, or who you want the player to be, because that's how you're going to build this game, right? Along the way, you might say, oh, well, we want multiplayer, right? Because that's what players want today. Well, there might be something that comes up where a programmer says, well, in order to get multiplayer, I need to have X, Y, or Z at my disposal. I need to create that, right? Server stuff or whatever. And that's where the kind of the team generated requirements come in. I might say, I need this before I can move on that. So again, it's talking amongst each other and coming up with these ideas. So while there are multiple inputs to the product backlog, it is the sole responsibility of the product owner to prioritize product backlog. Your product owner, what we've been calling leads today, should be the one that understands who the customer is and why we're making this game, right? So let's go, for example, Island Survivor, Ian, right? You know who your demographic is that you're pitching this game to, that your player type would be, right? We went through that before when you did your plan. So Ian understands this, he knows this. He's going to be the stopping point of that. And you're going to kind of say, this is how it goes, this is what we need, this is the important part. These are the priorities that need to happen first as we move along. If you had a stakeholder that was above Ian, say a publisher, right, who said, Ian, I'll give you, $10 million, finish this game, and then we'll help you market it, right? But it's only going to be successful if we market it to this crowd. So you need to make sure that whatever, teens, I don't know who your demographic is, what would you say?
Teens.
Teens,
I
okay.
sound like Ian.
Huh?
I sound like Ian.
I sound like Ian. If teens want this, then that's how we're going to market it to them. So we need to make sure that that game fulfills those requirements that the teams would love to play, right? And again, Ian would be that stopping point. Later on, we'll talk about Scrum Masters, and that's where the next stage kind of goes. But until then, Ian has created a backlog, which is basically this, right? Now, I haven't gone in detail to see how his user stories or items are structured, but I'm hoping that they're pretty good. Part of this class is to figure out what the best way to write those up. But that's the starting point, right? And specifically for this class, we'll talk about the release of the next 15 weeks. So your product backlog items, in Scrum, the product backlog item is a unit of work small enough to be completed by a team in one sprint iteration. One of the things we've changed this term is that we're going to have 3 sprints. We're going to do 3 build reviews. You guys were here last time. We did how many? 15, maybe a little less, but yeah, about 15 build reviews. Now that was kind of a pain in the butt, right? Every week you had to worry about building that, compiling that build and making sure that it was good, and then sometimes it got here and it crashed and it didn't look so great, or sometimes some of the assets that need to be put into there took longer than a week, so you didn't really get to see anything. So we've changed that now. So every 5 weeks you're going to be up here showing a build to everybody else. That means we're not really going to be meeting in here. We're going to come in the morning, we're going to do the attendance, might have a few little notes, but we're not going to sit here for an hour, hour and a half going through people's builds every Friday. So that's, again, some work time back to you guys that you guys can keep working. Backlog items are decomposed into 1 or more tasks, and we'll get into tasks in a bit. So product backlog item effort, and you can read that, but basically it's this idea, and we'll get into this a bit more in the semester, but this idea that it's kind of hard to judge items and estimate them by time. So you might want to instead have more generalized terms for how long it's going to take you to complete something, right? So if you're doing an art asset or if you're doing some code, whatever, you might not know exactly, oh, this is going to take me 5 hours. You might just say, as they have here, as a t-shirt, if it were a t-shirt size, it would be kind of a large, which is a little bit more than a small and a medium, but not as big as an extra large or an extra large, right? That's something we can talk a bit more about later on. That ties into the burn down, product burn down chart. So you'll have that based on, at the end of this release, you'll have a burn down of how well did you do. And for us, that's gonna be really important if we greenlight you again next semester or not. So this is a way now that we are gonna be able to stay on top and judge whether or not the team has successfully completed what they needed to do. Before this, we kind of just said, yeah, they're kind of doing well. I mean, this team's a little small. They had a bit, a lot of new folks on there. This one was bigger. They got a bit more done. I mean, and it was all just kind of up in the air. Just having these burn down charts will show us the velocity and how well you guys progress. So product owner role, Ian, right? In Scrum, a single person must have final authority representing the customer's interest in backlog prioritization and requirements questions. This person must be available to the team at any time, especially during the sprint planning meeting and the sprint review meetings. So they need to be here. It can't be somebody who's off campus. If they are, then maybe they need to be able to come in regularly, but that's something to discuss. Right now, they need to be here. Challenges of being a product owner, resisting the temptation to manage the team. It's not your responsibility. We need to go away from this. Oh, you do this task, you do that task, and you do this task. Instead, the teams should be able to say what is possible to complete within the 5 weeks, and then grab what they want from that and work on it. And you can work on it alone, you can work on it together. Things like pair programming, if anybody's ever heard of that, I know some of the teams are doing that last semester. You sit down, you've got 2 of you working on the same problem. Awesome. Resisting the temptation to add more important work after a sprint is already in progress. Once that sprint plan is completed, which will be today, you cannot add any more tasks for the next 15 weeks, or 5 weeks, sorry, they're there for that sprint, okay? That protects all of you. That protects everybody who's working on it. And that also says, that way we're gonna be able to complete the feature set that we say we wanna complete within that sprint timeframe. Being willing to make hard choices during the sprint planning meeting and balancing the interests of competing stakeholders. So again, if you're a publisher, if you've got a team, if you've got this and that, let the product owner deal with that kind of stuff. The release. So the release for us is the 15 weeks. So the end of a release usually means some kind of a shippable product, right? So the transition of an increment of potentially or shippable product from the development team into routine use by customers. So again, sometimes some industries, it might be an alpha or a beta. It might be some kind of a prototype where they're getting it out to people to test and use. Games industries, it's often not the case. Increasingly a bit more like on Steam Early Access, you see that kind of stuff. Or in MMOs, you can get to an alpha or a beta, right? But if you ship a game and it's not complete, have you guys ever seen when folks start to rage about that? Quite a lot, right? And who likes to get like day 1 DLC kind of stuff? Nobody, right? Day 2, day 3, all of a sudden you get this new stuff because it wasn't really completed. Nobody likes that. So you want to be as shippable, which means as polished as possible and as bug-free as possible. That's going to be another theme that we're going to harp on a bit. Every sprint, that build needs to be polished. So within 5 weeks, whatever you show up here, it has to be bug-free, has to operate on this machine, has to be polished. Release burn down chart. So again, this is the burn down chart that we're going to be looking for at the end of the semester. Scrum roles. There are 3 essential roles in any Scrum project: product owner, Scrum master, and the team. Now the Scrum master is a facilitator for the team and the product owner. They are the ones who kind of stand between the product owner and the rest of the team. Rather than manage the team, the Scrum master works to assist both the team and product owner in the following ways. Remove the barriers between the development and the product owner so that the product owner directly drives development. So if anything comes up and the team says, oh, we can't operate in this kind of environment, or this isn't acceptable for us, I'm getting confused, or I've got an issue, they talk to the Scrum master about that. The Scrum master goes and tries to figure that out, whether it's talking to the product owner or to myself or Lynn or Derek. Teach the product owner how to maximize return on investment and meet his or her objectives through Scrum. The Scrum master knows the team. That's a big priority that they'll have to have. So they'll know who is able to do what and able to then translate that to the goals of that sprint. Improve the lives of the development team by facilitating creativity empowerment. Super important in game development. If you're not having fun making a game, if you're not able to be creative making your game, it's going to show. You're not going to make a fun or creative game. So you want to make sure that you've got that in there. Improve the productivity of the development team in any way possible, and improve the engineering practices and tools, and keep information about the team's progress up to date and visible to all parties. Again, it's a Scrum Master's priority to maintain Axosoft, burn down charts, all that kind of stuff. So if I ever said, hey, where's the team at? I'm going to go to the Scrum Master and ask that question to the Scrum Master, not any individual team member, not necessarily to the product owner either. Sprints. These are our first 5 weeks, second 5 weeks, third 5 weeks. We have 3 sprints this semester. It's an iteration of work during which an increment of product functionality is implemented by the book. An iteration lasts 30 days. Okay, so you can do the math. We're not around 30 days, but this is longer than in other agile methods to take into account the fact that a functional increment of product must be produced each sprint. So again, that functional increment. The sprint starts with a 1-day sprint planning meeting. That'll be today. Many daily Scrum meetings occur during the sprint, 1 per day. For us, it's 1 per week. At the end of the sprint, we have a sprint review meeting. So at the end of 5 weeks, you will do do your build review, and then as a team, you will also review what you did and have a retrospective from that sprint meeting. During the sprint, the team must not be interrupted with additional requests. This is really important. We will not interrupt you. The product owner will not interrupt you. You guys get along. You build what you say you're going to build. And by the end of it, it needs to be ready. Guaranteeing the team won't be interrupted allows it to make real commitments it can be expected to keep. Out of practical necessity, some teams choose to bend this rule by declaring some team members 80% available to the outside, so they still have some cycles left, blah, 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 blah. I really want you to focus and stick within this. If there's somebody, for example, who at that time, in that sprint, isn't necessarily needed, let's talk about it, because there probably is a place for them. Often designers will say, oh, we did all the design up front, I don't have anything to do. There's testing you can do. There's polish that you can help with. There's marketing. There's all kinds of stuff that can go on with this. Sprint backlog defines the work for a sprint, represented by the set of tasks that must be completed to realize the sprint's goals and selected set of product backlog items. Product backlog items for our case, like I said, are the 15 weeks that we're going to do for the release. Sprint backlog items are the ones that you're going to identify today as a team, as a Scrum team, and say, this is what we can do in these 15 weeks. And you're going to grab them from the top of the list, because those are the priorities. So the product owners need to put their different items in top priority being up at the top, lowest priority at the bottom. The higher you are at the top, the more defined they are. At the bottom, they can be much more of that multiplayer, right? Up here, it can be jump mechanic, something like this. So then the teams will say, oh, I think between all of us, we can create this, this, and this, and that. And then you stop there. You say, that's it. And if there's any kind of dispute of like, oh, well, don't you think you can do a little bit more? No, stop. Because usually when we say we can do something, it's often we're saying that we can do it, right? We're saying we often are bad at estimating basically how much we can actually get done. So we like to say we can do more, but don't do that. Try to stay under it. If you're under it and you make it, awesome. And if you have a little bit of time extra, you test and you polish, and that's what'll make your games look really awesome. Within that, you have your sprint burn down chart, so that's specific for the 5 weeks. Again, we'll be looking for those as well. Axelsoft kind of works with all of that really easily. One of the things you'll look at here too, real quickly, the release planner. Everybody on the team will have their own release planner. That's basically you take an item over here, you drag it over to your side, and that's what you're working on. And then that'll start populating up top where it's black there. You'll see little graphs, you'll see pie charts and things of saying how much time that you have and how much time is allocated and how much time you've already used. And from there, you'll get to see your work process. If you don't know how long it takes you to, I don't know, draw something, right, or create a sprite, you don't know how long it's going to take you to complete the necessary 10 sprites or 100 sprites that you need to create in a certain amount of time. So as you go along, if you track how long it's taking you to do something, you'll be able to estimate it better later and in the future. And that'll make you a better employee or a better owner of your company or whatever you're doing, because you'll be able to say, this is what my time is worth. This is the value that I'm putting into this right now. Sprint goals, again, read this, ties into results of a negotiation between the product owner and the development team. Again, product owner says, I want this stuff done. The development team says, okay, but we can only manage this because this is the kind of team we are and this is what we do. Scrum focuses on goals that result in demonstrable product. Again, that's going to be at the end of the 5 weeks. The product owner is entitled to expect demonstrable product, starting with the very first sprint, however small or flimsy. So again, it's fine to underestimate a little bit and then just polish the heck out of it and bug test it. Your sprint planning meeting, again, that's what you're doing today. So you're going to do your release planning meeting today and your sprint planning meeting today as well. You're going to look at all the goals over the 15 weeks, and you're going to look at the goals for the next 5 weeks, and you're going to say, this is what we're going to work on. Sprint retrospective meeting, you'll do that at the end of it. Again, like I mentioned, you'll have the review, and then you'll look back, not at necessarily what was created, but you'll look at how did the team function. Did we get along well? Who was constantly having issues or needed something else from somebody? What can we put into place that'll help us for the next sprint? And that'll help you grow as a team as you move forward, which is the most important aspect you'll have as far as resources of any of this stuff. Sprint task in Scrum, a sprint task or task in just general is a unit of work generally between 4 and 16 hours. So the team members volunteer for tasks. These are all really important sentences right here. They update the estimated number of hours remaining on a daily basis, influencing the sprint burn-down chart, and the tasks are contained by backlog items. So Scrum literature encourages splitting a task into several of the estimate exceeds into several estimates if it exceeds 12 hours. So if a task is too big, if it's more than 12 hours, break it apart. Break it into some other pieces. Rather than saying, oh, I'll do multiplayer or I'll do jump mechanic or something like this, break it down. Make sure you can understand how long it might take you and guess. That's all you're going to do at first is just guess. It's an estimate. And then at the end of it, you say, oh, it actually took me 5 hours more than that, or I did that in 1 hour less amount of time. Okay, great. So next time you do something similar to that, you're going to know how long it's going to take you. And that's how you become professional. Scrum team is optimally comprised of 7 plus or minus 2 people. So I want to also look at this. I'm more interested, I think, about 5 people. If you can get 5 people in your teams. Now, a team doesn't mean product team. So Mirrored, for example, might have 2 teams or 3 teams if they have 15 people. The point here is that it helps people stay accountable. It helps you work and polish on pieces that you're working on, and it completes things better. So I know, again, some of the teams last semester broke it down into smaller teams, and they saw a lot more success when that happened. The software development projects, the team members are usually a mix of software engineers, architects, programmers, analysts, QA experts, testers, UI designers, on and on. What I want you to try to concentrate on is your teams need to be multidisciplinary. Each team should have a programmer, an artist, a designer, maybe a QA, maybe a UI, whatever. But they need to be multidisciplinary like that. Because then when you're working and you stumble upon something, it's much better than if you had a silo of artists over here and programmers over here and designers over here, and they didn't talk to each other very well, or it took you a while to get to them. If you're a multidisciplinary group and you're right next to each other, you say, hey man, can you just change that art asset you just gave me by a little bit so I can get it in here, and vice versa, right? Or, oh, I need you to build me something, I need you to program me something so I can add my content much easier. Things like that. So again, something we're going to be really working on is these cross-functional project teams. And that'll be something you give me today when you hand in who your team is, what are their roles, who's the Scrum Master for that specific team. The Scrum Master's per team, not per project. A team member is defined as anyone working on sprint tests toward the sprint goal. It's pretty simple. And finally, velocity. And again, velocity is going to be the cornerstone of are you making progress or not. In Scrum, velocity is how much product backlog effort a team can handle in one sprint. This can be estimated by viewing previous sprints, assuming the team composition and sprint duration are kept constant. It can also be established on a sprint-by-sprint basis using commitment-based planning. So we will be looking at the 3 sprints that you're doing as well as the entire 15-week release that you're going to be doing. Once established, velocity can be used to plan projects and forecast release and product completion dates. Now you can imagine if you come to us and this is the first time you've pitched something, say, again, we'll pick on Ian, right? Ian says, I'm going to do Island Survivor. Awesome. Let's put a team together. Now, in the next 15 weeks, you're going to be tracking all of that. And you're going to say, wow, this is actually, by the end of the 15 weeks, this is everything I've completed. This is what I know it takes me to go to the next level, i.e., maybe you're out of concept phase, so you know the design, and you're into pre-production, and you start building some of that, and you know how long it takes you to create one world, right? And by the end of this 15 weeks, you come to us and you say, look, it took me this amount of time, this amount of people to create sand world, whatever, right? And next semester, I'd like to create ice world, fire world, and air world based on these projections. It's going to be a lot stronger when he comes to do that, to talk to us, right? And we're going to be able to say to him, you know what, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Let's totally do that. And we will give basically the go-ahead on this, which for us is kind of equivalent when if you were to go to a publisher and say, can I have $5 million to complete this game? Because they're going to say, well, what's the guarantee here? This is super risky. Do you even know what you're doing? Have you ever made a game before? Yeah, I made this one level. This is what it took. And now I know if I want to make 6 more levels, because that's what my demographic wants, this is how long it's going to take me to do that. That's why I need those resources. Does that make sense? I know it's like a ton of information, but we're going to be revisiting a lot of these terms throughout the semester. And I'm always here to talk about it. Hugh's here to talk about it. Lynn's here to talk about it. Derek's here to talk about it. Matt once in a while is around. George, he's probably sleeping. But
He's traveling somewhere.
that's right, he's in San Francisco. And there are also a few of you out here I know who know some of these concepts as well because we've talked about them before. But I think this will help you all understand where you're at and give you an idea of progress. And I think that's one of the biggest things I personally have seen in the past semesters that's been a bit lacking when there's no direction and understanding on how well you're doing. So let's use some of these practices that are already industry standard. By the time you're done here, you jump into industry, you'll know what they're talking about. You'll be able to jump on a team and you'll be able to say to them, oh yeah, it'll take me that long to create that. And they'll go, oh my God, how do you know that? Well, I've already built 10 of those or 20 of those before. Right? Not bad. So any questions? Any questions? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to Lynn, and we'll go into the job fair. So I'm excited to see all the presentations again and see all the teams that are created. So, thanks, everybody.
All right, to start with, we're gonna have a break, 10 minutes, be back here in your chairs in 10 minutes. Get up, take it out, grab some coffee, all that.
Really don't put on top of your head. Get on.
But it's been okay. I haven't been having problems.
This is why you have to go.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what I would do like programming with, but I still feel really intimidated with people usually. So I'm just gonna talk to all the groups and see what
Just get in there and do it.
I'm not gonna say yes. Look at this game. So asking for help.
I'm like, David, I was so scared. He's like, at first he's like, jealous. He's like, I don't care if she does that to you. And it's like, no. And I'm like,
Still open
you'd be jealous of him. I'm
Yeah,
like, I
but if you
know.
jump on my team, you're gonna make me scrum master.
That would be
Whoever I get as programmer is gonna also be scrum master.
That's not like there's a lot of work for the programmer to do, right? You're probably gonna be doing a lot of that.
It's almost all done.
Yeah, I'm well with that.
Like it is the easiest programming. Like the hard part, you're gonna have to just get in there and like, save everything to files because we want to save every piece of information we can because it's going to be used for the experiment. So who knows if I find no results, I may have to go back and say, okay, maybe we look at how long we spent on each word. Is there a significant difference in how long we spent on each word? Is there a significant difference for how many times their mouse crossed the image during the word? How many times did they tap on? Like, did they tap on this part of the screen more than this part? So you just need to save all that information. Every time their finger touches the screen, we're just going to keep saving like, every millisecond of that rotation.
You
Just fill a log file. Every piece of information they submit so we can play it back.
Yeah.
We'll probably go with like tenth of a second fidelity. So we can play it back at
They all-
10 times a second.
It's a matter of understanding what that
We play back
means.
every single input we get from the user.
Have you got your artists already, or are you gonna wait until that?
Not yet. We've got 2 online ones, and then Portillo's concept art class has orders under their first project for the first 5 weeks to help a project. And so it should be pretty easy. I just checked, and federal wanted and mugshots are copyright free. So we're just going to take a bunch of like federal mugshots of actual cartel members. And I found a little tutorial on how to turn a photo into a Grand Theft Auto style picture.
I don't know what you mean by Grand Theft Auto.
So you know that? So have you seen that advertising for Grand Theft Auto? Oh, their illustration style is like a really.
Oh, pardon me.
Like, you can see that style and people go, "Oh, that's a Grand Theft
Since
Auto."
you don't have a team.
Oh, okay, yeah. I stopped playing after 2 months.
You get a very noticeable poster illustrations. And I saw this before, I was like, that's actually pretty easy to do in Photoshop. So I'm like, okay, we'll take those pictures, we'll do that. We'll do that. 60 times.
For building. I mean, you got it. So.
Well, I can't wait to hear more. I don't know what the whole project is, so a lot of it I'm like, okay. So trying to understand what you are
Okay, so you don't know the whole project?
No, I don't know the whole project yet.
So basically, from my previous methods, I'm understanding how emotional valence has a positive emotional feel, and more or less stressful negative emotional feel. So negative emotional valence is things like stress, anger, fear, positive joy. So we're going to build the same game with as many things similar as possible. Except the idea that one has a positive valence, working the surface, test around the surface, and we want to know all about that. We hear they work with vicious animals, so human beings, and then on the other side, it's all you work with the Cortez drug company. They work with vicious animals. You name these animals. And I'll show you like, guys that are shot down, guys that just crashed, violence is going on, and all these things. You're like, wow, that's most shocking to see. But they're computer animated actions of the poster. The guy who's been shot in the chest has had to scorpion.
So it's like it's a study based on like positive versus negative.
Yeah, but not reinforcing the valence, emotional feeling.
It's important to eat.
And so the game project itself is Polaroid picture of an animal shows up. At the bottom, you swipe between different words of the name. You find the one you want, drag it up on the picture. Success or fail, move to the next one. 8% pictures. Very simple. You're swiping and dragging. You're checking if the text is number 3 and the picture is number 3. If the index of the array where the text is match the index of the array where the picture is, if so, success. If not, fail. Easiest to play. So you have
That sounds fun. Interesting. And I kind of like own stuff, so I wanted to learn like something.
And the nice thing is, the goal is to use it's used in this published paper because official published journal of science. All their work that was used in this published paper.
I like your necklace.
On Sunday,
Say no. So instead of that, like, so that's where
All right, take your seats, please. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to UAT Studios Job Fair. This is the first event held at the first week of the semester for new recruits coming on to our game project. So welcome new recruits. How many do we have in the audience today? Yeah, all right, give them a round of applause, please. We also have online students joining us today. There's our camera, so leads as you present. Make sure that you're speaking clearly into the microphone. You're staying around the podium area so that you can be heard, and make sure that you're greeting them. There are 30 new recruits online as well. So welcome online. Give them a hand. I'd like to introduce Professor Derek Clark. Come on in.
All right, so to kick this off, a couple of quick announcements and just kind of flow of how things work throughout the term. A lot of you obviously were in the last hour, so you know how the classes are going to work. But many of you may not have been here last term when we did some of the other stuff. So we run 3 events a term. There's this one, which is the job fair. Few things happen here. Obviously, you can recruit for the projects that we have sanctioned and chosen last time, but there's also opportunity for projects like Nick's project that has gone through the studio model, but they're still maybe looking for 1 or 2 people to recruit. So it's a big recruitment event. You can get involved in a lot of different projects. At the end of this term, at the end of every term, we actually run a celebration and a green light event. The celebration is what you will be involved in. At the end of the term, we will celebrate the completion of the games. Last term, we set our record with 8 projects, and so we said, well, we can do 8. We sure can do 10. So, well, we joke, because Hugh's in the room, 9.5. One of them's Hugh's. Quarter. A quarter? It's down to a quarter now?
So you're saying Hugh is 75%?
Yeah, so Hugh is 9 of the projects, and the rest of you are a half. No, one of the projects is Hugh's dissertation project, so helping get his PhD. So we do that event. We chose 10. I believe we had 15, 17, something like that present. So I want to talk briefly about what that entails. In the early days of the studio, when we first started this out, somebody would show up to our green light event and go, I've got this idea to make a game that does this. And we're like, okay, we'll do that one because you're one of 3 people that showed up. Now it's gotten to the point that the ones that we didn't choose, the 5 that we didn't choose, in previous terms would have made it through easy. It's getting more and more and more competitive. So if you are thinking about, I would like to present and I would like to get my project as part of the green light, you know, a couple of hints. Obviously, design documentation and research and background is good, but playable, demos, prototypes, you know, we need to see progress. We'll pick on Ian a little bit. Ian presented at a green light. He had great documentation and a really, really good core idea, but didn't make it because the other projects were farther along. So he spent 15 weeks and he developed all that stuff. He brought it back. Here's what I've been working on. Here's the core. Here's the prototype. Here's how it's going to work. And presented a much stronger case, and we picked it up for this term. So there's definitely opportunity there. So take advantage of that. UAT Game Studios as an entity is a thing that we've been growing over many, many years. Lynn might know the actual number. It started off with a group of instructors, 2 of which are still here, myself and Lynn. Others have moved on. But the idea is to mimic the studio model. And so everything that we do here is based around how a studio would run. So it's a little bit different. It had some growing pains in the early years where, we threw people into, hey, here's Scrum you've never seen before. Now, it makes me excited that I see a couple of faces that have gone through my Game 125 class where we've at least talked about Scrum. So the new Game 125 class is even more crazy. So that's kind of the thing. So at the end, we do the celebration, we do the green light. What's very interesting is our green light celebration event now is probably one of the most prestigious events on campus. The other groups, even SIP, this is going to sound awesome, even SIP are looking to see what we do to mimic some of the stuff that we do for Greenlight. It's also one of the biggest events as far as bringing external people on campus. So the last thing I'll leave you with is this. We invite press and we invite game professionals and stuff to the celebration event at the end. So what that means is everything you're doing over the next 15 weeks, when you present it at the end of this term, there's going to be people that could potentially offer you a job and or advertise, via magazine articles or websites or different things like that, the work that you've done. So when you're grinding and it's week 8 and you're just tired of being here, keep that kind of stuff in mind. It's like there is a goal at the end that's going to help you guys quite a bit. So welcome the new people. Welcome back to the ones that have participated in this again. If you are new, the last thing would recommend that as you're going through this process and there's things like, wow, I don't understand this or I don't understand that, not only let us know, but keep that in the back of your mind, because in a term or two, you're going to be in the, oh, I've done this a couple of times. There's going to be a whole new crop of new people coming in. They're going to have those exact same style of questions, and you can help them a lot. You'd be amazed at how much your guys' perspective to another instructor or another student can help so much more. While we've gone through this kind of stuff, we went through a lot of it before some of you were born. And so it's easy to forget what that process is like, where you guys are closer to it. You can help each other and mentor each other. So also, it's a great networking opportunity. There's a good chance that when you go to get into the game industry or you're on your second project, somebody in this room might be your in to a studio to get a potential job. So keep that in mind as you're working with each other and you want to curse out, let's say, Jeremy. Oh man, I can't believe you did that. You can still think that, just say it nicely. All right, I think that's all the things that are on my list. Did I have anything else that I was supposed to say? The true power behind the throne. All right, well, like I said, I look forward to seeing what you guys do. 10 projects, biggest studio in Arizona. Facebook Hub. So yeah, obviously I'm kind of the champion of the social media / marketing side of UAT Game Studios. We do have a Facebook page. Please join that. Follow us there. We do have the Twitter account, so get me up over, I think I'm at 1,600 now, so we're shooting for 1,750. Sounds good. We do have the YouTube channel that I've already mentioned. One of the things that we're probably going to do this term is also develop out some of the Google. I've got like a Google community page. I've got a Google branding page and different things like that. And potentially even build our own website to kind of link all this stuff together. If you are interested in that side of things, come and talk to me. We might be able to work out some kind of work release thing where if you want to help me with that side of things, like help me manage the YouTube or help me get the videos working or things like that, there might be some opportunities if you're interested in that side. It's funny because game people in general, and this is a generalization, we tend to be an introverted group. We tend to not be very good self-promoters, not like the DV and movie people. You know, DV, they just get together and give themselves awards all the time. The game industry, not so much. We just don't do that. And so for me, it was hard because I flat out refused to be a Twitterer or a person. I didn't want any part of this. Like, why do I want to tell people that I ate a sandwich today? That's stupid. But what I have found that's very interesting is I have 2 Twitter accounts. I've got one that's @Derek. I own that. That's mine. I got in early enough that I actually have my name as my Twitter account. I think I've sent 3 tweets on that account. Then I've got the UAT Game Studios account, which has only existed since June. My main Twitter account, I think I made it in like March of 2009. I've had it forever. And that thing goes crazy. And this kind of gives you an idea. I track daily how many impressions I get. Now, the Twitter impressions are interesting because they're kind of a, well, theoretically, somebody saw your tweet. No, they might have just scrolled past it. But at any day, I get anywhere between 1,000 and 10,000 impressions a day on the UAT Twitter account. So I've already sent a picture of all you guys out this morning. So if you're following me, you're on Twitter this morning. It was from that corner. So people over here were probably closer. I haven't tracked to see how many people have followed that tweet, but again, it can be anywhere between 200 and 4,000 usually on a particular tweet. So it's very interesting because on average per month, I hit somewhere right around 75,000 impressions on our UAT Twitter account, which means 75,000 times people have seen what the UAT Game Studios is doing. And you guys are involved in that, right? It can become a part, and if you help me, it can help you as well. So yeah, there's a whole hub of information. If you are interested in that side of things, let me know, because there is enough people here that we could probably shake loose some hours, and I've worked with you, and we can do some stuff on that side. I would encourage every team. Ben's making you do a YouTube account. I would encourage you all to get a Twitter account, because I'll retweet your stuff and get your stuff in front of a bunch of people as well. I've done the legwork to get a lot of those people up, so you might as well take advantage of it. Anything else I'm supposed to say? Lynn knows. Lynn knows all. All right. Look forward to seeing the presentations. Look forward to seeing what you guys do over the next 15 weeks. Who's next? One more thing. GDC. I'm going. Okay. What am I? Is there something about GDC I'm supposed to say?
It's coming up this week.
GDC is coming up. Scheduling wise, the week after midterm break, which means like the campus will be closed for 2 straight weeks. Yeah, this place gets really, really quiet during GDC. Is anybody planning on going to GDC? Yeah, a few people. Obviously, instructor-wise, work with them. I should be there. All of my stuff has been submitted for my speaker badge, and I should hear back this week to verify it. So yeah, we'll probably get together and touch base, both at the show but before the show. If you go, whether you go or you don't go, pay attention to what's coming out of there. It's a lot of really good information. So yeah, GDC is March 14th to the 18th, 19th, something like that. If you're going to go next year, towards the end of the year, I would encourage you to pay attention to IGDA. They do a bunch of scholarships if you write essays, and the conference associates, because then you can get there for free. The associates, they actually pay you to work the show. Good opportunities. Welcome back, man.
Hi. Good morning.
All right, I think we're going over to the presentations. It's enough of me talking. All right.
Thank you, Dick.
See you guys.
To start with today, we have Great Horse Nick. Come on down. He's going to show off his current build and tell you a little bit about his experience at the UAT Game Studios.
Hi, I'm Nick. Nick Reed. I am a senior here at UAT. This is my last semester here. I had my project here, Great War Strategic Tactical Advance. It's been going for the last year. It's an RTS game, and we greenlit it throughout the entire year. Throughout this process, we learned a lot, tons of things in terms of team management, production, game development itself, and just how to ration out time and resources. So I really hope you all take advantage of this, get your hands dirty, go above and beyond, and work hard on your projects that you're going to be on. We're still doing it. We're still going with this project right now. We're kind of working towards getting a polished up vertical slice, getting that pitched to publishers. If not, we'll just do it ourselves and put it on Greenlight or Steam Greenlight. So yeah, that's about all I have for that. But once again, yeah, Greenlight is just a great experience. I really enjoyed it. This is what you're going to be doing in the industry. You're you're making video games. So if you're not putting forth like the max amount of effort on this, you should probably consider changing your degree field. And I'm not saying that to be like rude or anything. I'm saying that because I've come across a lot of people in the past who come through this course. They realize that they don't want to do this now. You know, it's like, oh, making video games is work. I thought it was like that movie Grandma's Boy. But unfortunately, it's not. You actually do have to work a lot. If you're going to be a designer, a programmer, an artist, you know, strive, you know, work hard to do your best to, you know, stand out. You know, try and make these projects your own and put them on your portfolio, because this is what's going to get you hired in the long run. So yeah, here is the trailer for our latest build. So the lyrics are pretty well significant because it is a long, long way to finishing any game, no matter how small or how big. This project was a huge undertaking. We're still working on it. We're going to be doing the job fair this semester. So we're getting it polished up and getting it ready for a publisher pitch. If you're interested in it at all, I'll be out in the comments for at least the next hour or so. And yeah, come find me. If you're an artist, a designer, or a programmer, if you're skilled in any of those things, you know, come on out and find me, and I'll be happy to have you work on our team. Once again, I'm Nick Reed. Thanks for your time.
Come on down and share here.
Okay, so I'm Ben Hope, the lead on Mirrored and the project owner. I'm also from Live in the Game Studios, and Desiree is one of the admins for the studio. Kathy's not here right now. She was sort of feeling sick, so. But they will be actually manning the project on ground because I'm in Denver now. So I moved up there over the break. So I'm trying to get used to the snow again. I used to live in Colorado, and I was like, oh my God, I got to dig my car out again. It's very snowy. So I don't mind the heat when it's warmer down there. I'll tell you that right now. The projects, I'd like to say, and Nick made a really good point about Greenlight. It's a very valuable tool to learn. For me and everybody that's been on the project, we have, I've added 15 people on the LLC studio core now. So we have sound designers, like solid programming team, solid design team, and artists. So we have a lot of them on. And the really cool thing that I found is I was rogue, and all the teachers were going, please Greenlight, please Greenlight. I was like, no, I'm not going to Greenlight. So I said, okay, I'll finally do it, and it was worth it. So I would definitely say that the program is really well developed now, and I picked a good time to get into it. So Ben Riker and Lynn are really awesome. They're doing a really good job with it. So a great choice to join all the projects. I'm really excited to see all the other projects too, and where they go from here. The Mirrored has been going on for over a year now, for about a year and a half. It's a flagship title for the studio. We are doing other games too. I'd like to say that I'm not going to do a big game like this after this, probably for a while, but it takes a long time. And unless you have 100 people, it takes forever to do. But I'm really proud of it. But we are looking at other games, the Game Jam and that kind of things. We're looking to develop small titles throughout. And the key is published titles and having consistent releases. I think you always want people to see that you're out there and you're alive and doing things, right? So that's key for a studio. So this is being done through my studio, as are the other games. And they will actually be leading this. It will be funneling questions to them. And I'll go ahead and show this right now. We are excited to, we have some stuff that was done over the break from Chris Helm. He's amazing. And he's taken over and he did some dynamic pathfinding. We have NPCs that are actually going to roam around levels. So they won't be stuck and stagnant, which I think is a cool thing, which adds another element. I will be showing that later on. I didn't have time to make a video as I was moving and packing, and you know how that goes. All right, let's go ahead and check this out. I'm Benjamin Pope, CEO and Creative Director of Live in the Game LLC. The team has had a really great semester working on a game studio class under the Reflective Resolution. We have added a lot of gameplay and some exciting features. I'll now turn you over to the studio co-leads, Desiree Niehaus and Kathleen Norris for more.
Hi, my name is Desiree Niehaus, Assistant Manager for Live in the Game Studio. Mirrored, the Reflective Resolution, is a game featuring a hybrid mix of 2D and 3D art styles and an action-adventure puzzler genre that follows an impactful storyline of growing Lily. Lily must deal with hardship as she learns to cope with the loss of her birth parents that died in a tragic car accident. Lily gets drawn into her mirrored world where she seeks answers and a connection between past and present events. Lily's only friend is her cat Logos, who accompanies her throughout the various levels of the game. Logos has a snarky yet witty personality, but cares about helping Lily in his own way. The game takes place in both a normal world and a mirrored world, featuring dark enemies and a scarier theme. Lily must progress through normal and mirrored worlds to work through what happened to her and reach a resolution. Lily's adventure takes place in the 1960s, which adds a unique look and feel to the game, and will feature 2D cutscenes visualizing the narrative for players.
Hi, my name is Kathy Norris, and I'm the other assistant manager for the New Game Studios. Last semester, we touched on adding new game mechanics, such as digging, and this semester, we actually added them into the build. Lily can now dig up patches of dirt in the levels to find collectibles. Every time she finds 5 collectibles, her health gauge will increase. We've also added a bunch of bosses into their respective boss levels, and the brand new Shadow Serpent boss fight. The Shadowhawk also has its trigger event implemented into the game. When Lily enters the forest, Logos is captured by the Shadowhawk, and she must find the exact location to continue the battle and save him, or it's game over. We've also added some new levels to the game. Now walk inside Lily's new home, the farmhouse. The barn has been completely redone, and a barn loft has been added. Climbing has also been added to the game, and Lily can now jump across the beams in the barn loft. Mirror now features a quest system which has been implemented into the game. The player will receive a quest online and have to talk to the various NPCs around the town to figure out where to go. The quest system will be the main driving force of gameplay, along with the cutscenes. New NPC animations have also been added to bring the town even more life. We also added flavor text to items in the game, so when no one clicks on them, you'll get a random dialogue option. The 3D attic level has been added to the game, so players can now walk around in our featured collectibles location. The menus have also been updated with new art, including the damage states that Lily receives during the boss battle. We've done a lot this semester and look forward to completing our cutscenes, indoor levels, and finishing our quest systems with NPC animations next semester.
Hi guys, this is Ben once again from the studio with me. And you saw what we did before, and then you saw where Mirror came. Right? So this is where Mirror's at. But what else are we doing? Where else are we going? That's what we're talking about. So the first project that we're talking about, Puppet Master. So the attic level, I do want to clarify a few things that we're going to be focusing on. That's going to be fully done. We're going to get that all done this semester to add some more story elements to it, some hidden things to actually further the story to where we're going to go from there. We are also going to get the mirrored elements look done. When we get the mayor's house, that's where the serpent will be. So you guys can actually see the mirrored levels that have been promising. And then the story, I'm really pushing storyboard hardcore because that's the story, and the draw is for the characters. You know, Lily, that's where it's really drawn. So that's where people really like it. So I want them to get an idea of what they're actually doing, why they're doing it, and that's what we'll be doing. A lot of testing too, so we factor that in. That way we can make sure it all works right for the sprints. And I'm super excited about all the people coming on. So we have a lot of new people coming on. So we're gonna have at least 25 or I don't know, like so many. So like, it's crazy. But why not, right? Awesome. Thanks.
As each one of these project leads presents, the Q&A is after this session. Out in the commons area, you'll notice the tables and the placards are right there for you to talk to the team leads. Crimson Knights, come on up.
So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to show a video of what we've done over the past semester, and it'll get you give you a feel for what the game is, and then I'll go into a presentation and talk about what we did. basically just gameplay of all the different modes that we've created over the past 15 weeks. Once this loads. Oh, there we go. All right, so yep, we are the Crimson Knights team. So what is Crimson Knights? It's a dungeon crawler multiplayer action adventure game. This is the team that worked on it last semester, and we also had 3 online students. First off, we started as a game jam game. We created the prototype in 48 hours, and we were the winners of it. So then we brought it to the studio course, and we got our team, and we developed this so far. And that's what we're doing again this semester. One of the greatest things about being in the studio alone is that you get to go to these like events, and you get to just see how people react. And our game was, pretty well received, and I'm happy about that. And no matter what the game you choose, this is definitely one of the best parts about being in the studio. So what do we accomplish for 3 modes? All the armor sets, all the props, a bunch of enemies, and everything listed here. Now what we have planned next is all the art assets we didn't get in, and more that we create, and a few of the modes that we didn't get to finish and implement. So what we're looking for are designers, artists, programmers, and we definitely need music and sound because we're using placeholder stuff for right now. But then when it comes to any of these categories, if you can fit and do any of the things that we have listed here, that would be a great help. You can keep in touch or check out stuff if you want to look more into our game at our website, crimsonknights.com or crimsonknightsgame.com, which will link you to any of these other pages too. And thank you. And if you have any questions, you can ask us out at our table.
Come on down. I do ask that you stay seated during the presentations, and then you can get up and move around in between.
Hello everyone, my name is John Pratt and I'm the lead designer of Mortal Coil. So what I've got for you, oh, there we go. All right, sorry about that. But just to show you what we kind of did over the course of the last semester. So Mortal Coil is a turn-based tactics game. We have a unique art style in the game. We just try and keep everything really stylized. The first level takes place in a churchyard, and it pits the vampires against the Templars. The idea is that the Templars have a very bulky style of combat. They fight in groups and they get bonuses when they do so. And as the vampires fight, they fight in a much more stealthy way. They specialize in sneaking up on their opponents, getting the advantage that way, and even get bonuses from being in stealth. We have some character models done. They haven't been applied to the characters yet, so we're looking for artists to get those actually implemented into the game. We're looking for artists in general. We're looking for programmers to kind of help flesh this all out a little bit more. As you can see up on the screen, we have some good examples of the combat in the game itself. We're actually going to build out the UI. We have some systems for actually dynamically placing units onto the field that we'd like to get built out. So we're really looking for programmers, artists, and even a few designers. And up here, if you look in the top left corner, it's very small, but this vampire actually went stealth. They can actually scale up and over the environment in order to get the drop on their opponents. And we're just looking to build this out to an even grander scale. And really about covers it. So we're looking for more levels. We'll actually also be adding sound and music to the game in general. So if you're good with that, come on down. But that really about wraps it up.
Good afternoon, everyone. John Wisniewski with Terrasect. My project lead is currently puking his guts out right now. So I'm going to try and do this on the top of my head. There's no sound right now. This Happy Skies, I'm happy to announce that Knickknacks was greenlit 2 semesters ago, and this Friday coming up, it will be published to the markets. I'm hoping to do the same thing with Happy Skies this semester. After looking at market analytics and the mistakes and accomplishments of Knickknacks, I will be changing around Happy Skies a little bit. There's a great vertical slice made by the team. Got a couple of stone here from last semester. I just want to take this more to fit what the mobile market is this time around this year, 2016, and be able to actually release in this semester. Currently, I'm looking for 3 programmers, 3 designers, 3 artists, all to be on their own team to do features as they want them. Yeah, that's about it, because thanks to my sick project lead. But thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Oh yeah, and I'll be out.
Okay, Oddity, come on down.
All right. My name is Harlan, project lead and lead artist of Oddity. I can find it on there. And yeah, let's play this and then talk about it.
Oddity, a horror adventure game. Oddity, imagine a game that removes your safety blanket, where every action and death matter. Death is your most important tool. Will you lose your humanity? It uses an innovative mechanic known as the Shadow Save feature. The Shadow Save feature records context data, major events, and actions the player makes throughout the game, which is applied to reloads and replays. Death is merely a setback. Objects and events reset, but past, or in a sense, future, actions are remembered and allow for the player to manipulate and change the game. This Shadow Save feature is a double-edged sword. If the player were to kill another character in the world, reloading or replaying and meeting that character again will cause them to remember previous actions, possibly feeling hostile or afraid towards the player. This allows for the game to mutate and for the player to manipulate all of the characters and events in the world. The player can also use this feature to adjust characters in a more positive manner, building trust and friendships throughout a single playthrough. Allow for the player to reload to a much earlier part of the game, turning a once fearful stranger to a familiar friend who may unlock areas, new content, and aid the player in what they weren't before. Oddity remembers and reacts to the player's actions, allowing for new experiences each reload and playthrough. Oddity focuses on surreal psychological horror, replayability, mystery, and exploration of the town. The player's main goal is to escape and survive. Oddity is currently being developed by a small team of UAT students. Plans for the future include finishing a demo and expand, allowing the game to be a much larger and more enjoyable experience, with more playability and more strangeness to explore. I hope you enjoy Oddity and play with us soon.
So yeah. So Oddity is mostly about multiple choices and context data being saved and applying to old save states, breaking the usual save state mechanics. It does focus on horror. It has a lot of 2D elements, so I'm always in need of artists. There's just 3 of us last time, on top of me trying to organize everyone else together. So yeah, art is always necessary. If you want to draw like this or try to learn a new art style, I'm always there to help you. And we can always use programmers for more features in the game, as well as designers to help pretty much write multiple story plots that intermingle with each other. So, pretty much the gist of the game. If you have more questions, I'll be outside, standing with a poster with this guy's face on it, and be able to. So, thanks again, and see you soon.
Projects that are returning for Greenlight. The rest of what you will see are new projects, and we'd like to start with Deadliest War. Tyler, come on up.
Hello everyone, my name is Tyler and I will be presenting for the Deadliest War. We are working in conjunction with an outside studio. SOSET Studio is Social Enterprises Studio, and they are relocating here to Tempe to work with us this semester. I will be leading the project throughout the semester and being the product owner and liaisoning with SOSET. So Deadliest War is a world game 4-piece. The basis of Deadliest War is a 2D side-scrolling platformer game about a boy who's from Africa and is in the midst of the conflict war there. He's been traumatized and now has to survive using the wisdom and knowledge that he has to gain from navigators and mentors that he has to find and unlock along the way. Features that we have or plan to implement in the game include the fact that it's going to be narrative driven. Real world characters will be implemented. We are contacting, working with, and planning to implement real life Navy SEALs. They will act as mentors for Afri, our main character. As I said before, it's going to be a side-scrolling 2D platformer game. And in the future, we do plan to implement multiplayer features, such as an online co-op and an e-democracy. It is a pro-social game, so it does enhance pro-social behaviors, and it is a political game to bring awareness to gamers about what's going on in Africa and the conflict mineral wars. The e-democracy features that we want to implement are innovative, and while games that bring awareness for political and social change have kind of been done before, the way that we want to use the e-democracy tools are new and innovative and add to that. So, as this is a new game, we do have a need for pretty much everything. The art direction that we will be taking is 2D and follows a Never Alone, very emotional feel. Never Alone is on the screen. You can see some of the images from that. All of the environment and assets will be 2D. However, our characters want to have a 3D feel. And all of the art does need to have an emotional feel to it. We need concept art, modeling and texturing, and animation. Programming, we will be programming in Unity with the possibility for Unity Pro, as we do want cutscenes. We need level and narrative designers, as it is a narrative-driven game. We do need people to write out some plot, some questing, some dialogue, and then obviously level designers. Also, we do plan to focus heavily on social media, as it is a political and social awareness game. So if you have any interest in working with social media, we need that as well. So I know it kind of is something that you might question why you might want to do this. The Deadliest War is about creating awareness, helping others, and maybe eventually ending a war. And I mean, who wouldn't want to help end a war one day and be a part of something bigger than yourself? This is some contact info, studio and myself contact information. The studio is very big in social media, and they have websites and Facebook and Twitter. Thank you. I'll be outside. You can ask me any questions. Thanks.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Goldsmith. I'm the project owner for Island Survivor, as I've been called out numerous times today. I'm not a big public speaker, so I went and made myself a video. I'm also going to be out in the hallway. I got a table, so if you're interested in joining the project, it'll be fun there.
Island Survivor is being developed in the Unreal 4 engine. It is a multiplayer team-based survival game where the player finds themselves trapped on an island and must work together with their team to survive on the map. This game has a few key features to assist in surviving, like harvesting, crafting, and forming bases for all of the players in the team to work out of. This game will support up to 25 players, 5 players per team, 5 teams per game, and this is doable with the Unreal Engine's networking system, but I'll get into that later. The point of this game is to force the players to work together, fostering players' ability to communicate with the team and cooperate in doing all of the necessary tasks to ensure everyone survives. The challenge of this game is that the island is inhabited by more than one team of players, and those teams might try and contest for areas of the map that are rich with valuable resources. Here is a quick video showcasing the island and all of the work that has already been done in Editor. As you can see, there are tree models, mountains, the ground texture, as well as lakes, rivers have already been mapped out, and the water plane is extended far enough that when you're playing, you can definitely get the feeling that the island is encompassed by ocean and there's no way off. Here's the camera and movement controls the player will have access to. Here's more camera control options the player has to be able to pan around and have more than just a top-down view. And that's it for the overview. I would like to first focus on the player's inventory and item management to include harvesting. This is the linchpin feature that 80% of the game requires. That's picking up items and using those items from the inventory makes it the base for all other features. Crafting, or being able to make items for use in the game, like weapons, armor, and healing items, all fall under the crafting feature. Building, an extension of crafting where the players can make buildings from the items in the inventory and place them directly into the world. And lastly, hunting, encompassing combat. The only requirements I wish to fulfill with this feature is that players are able to pass damage back and forth between each other, to showcase some of the modeling work that has already been done. This is what I expect players to be able to do when they're building. As you can see, there's the forge, the barrels, an anvil, and a campfire. The buildings the player can make will have their own sight radius, and I'll get into that later when I talk about the Fog of War. And this is my plant cast of playable characters. For this production cycle, I'm only concerned with the Gatherer, as they are the baseline from which all of their classes derive from. The team makeup is determined in the pre-game lobby, and each player has the freedom to choose whichever role or class they wish to play as that game. Each player will have to manage their 3 personal resources: health, heat, and hunger. I'm sure everyone can understand the health. As it reaches 0, you die. The heat needs to be balanced in the middle. If the player is too hot or too cold, it'll have negative effects, and it'll make surviving on an island more challenging. Hunger is also energy. Restoring hunger can be done through eating or sleeping. Buildings can make these bonuses greater or recharge faster. Weapon abilities have hunger costs, and you will lose hunger upon using abilities, and if you use too much hunger, then you won't be able to use the abilities any longer. Here's what I have so far for the player's HUD. To explain it, on the left bottom side here, you have the equipment that the player will have. The inventory will be hotkeyed through 1 through 6, where the resources that are collected in-game will show up. Your 3 personal resources, and then you have your ability activation area that is hotkeyed Q, W, E, and R that are derived directly from the weapon that is equipped. Your Fog of War covers everything that you can't see in your outer vision cone or your inner peripheral vision, and this is changed by buildings that you place, like the campfire I stated earlier. It would have its own peripheral vision circle that you and everyone on your team can see. And here is a quick video showcasing the multiplayer feature that I stated in the beginning that comes stock with Unreal 4. As you can see, you can set the number of players, and then when you hit play, 5 screens will show up, one of which is the server, the others are the clients. When you build the game, both of these will come with the build, so a player could theoretically start his own game or join another, and he will either be the server or the client when he does so. And that'll bring me into what's done. I have already gotten my hands on a pre-game lobby screen that has team organization, so players can join teams and select their class. As I said before, the camera control and camera movement has already been done, as well as the UI is designed and basically implemented, as well as the 3D models and 2D resource tooltips. There is an established production timeline with milestones that I believe are achievable during the 15-week production studio course. I have completed game design, art, sound, and technical documentation, as well as a Google Drive dedicated to the Island Survivor project. This drive has already been organized by department, so each team can quickly select tasks from the burn down charts and submit their work directly to the drive for OB department leads. Here's an example of the charts that are made for each department. The key on the
And all these have been updated to the AxoSoft that was shown earlier.
right allows for each member of the team to know who has what task and what stage that task is in at any point throughout production. For this prototype, I need 2 artists comfortable with the 3D modeling, as I will need more building assets, resource nodes, and a character model for the gatherer, as well as animations for each. 2 designers to help create the resource nodes and blueprint and hand place them on the island, as well as touching up the island, creating fun and intriguing base sites for players to fortify and defend it during their stay on the island. 2 programmers of any skill level willing to learn blueprinting and help make the inventory, harvesting, crafting, and building features that will make the prototype fun to play. Thank you for your time.
Cortez family.
I'm going to try and go through this pretty quick. I really need a small team, mostly just artists is what I'm looking for. The project itself is going to be part of an experiment that's going to be run here for my PhD work. So it's the kind of thing that if you want to be, involved in some honest to goodness real science, that's this project here. So the core concept is just going to be a language learning tool that's got kind of a narrative to it. So we'll put images up on the screen. They'll be able to slide through different text, try and match the animal name to the picture. Little simple artwork setup. But the goal is we're going to be studying emotional valence in games and how it affects learning. So do you learn more when you have a negative emotion inside of the game or more when you have a positive emotion inside of the game? So we'll actually be building 2 tools that are very similar to one another, work a little different. So the positive emotional valence one here, let me go ahead and put this in full screen. So it'll start with kind of a little opening animation where it's a family talking about how you've spent the summer with the Cortez family, and that the Cortez family works with some vicious animals, and they want to see if you can recognize these animals in the pictures. And so once again, they'll show you a bunch of pictures of things related to the Cortez family circus here, and you'll have to match the names in the language you're learning to the circus pictures that are on there. Give a chance for people to learn in this positive, happy environment. Then we're also going to do the exact same gameplay, same concept, but a slightly different environment. The FBI has you taken aside because you worked with the Cortez family cartel instead of circus. And they work with some vicious, savage animals, and they want to see if you can identify the animals in the picture. So they'll show you pictures of things like, guys with big prison tattoos. There's a little baggie of cocaine with El Gorilla on it. It's a little hard to see down in the corner down here, but the scorpion's been shot in the chest. And so the idea being that these images provide the same layout, the same text, the same gameplay, the same educational content. We get as closely as possible. So the scorpion, that's a bullet wound, is a hamburger package. It's got a ketchup spot in the same spot as the blood. So that we're even doing trying to prevent it being the color red that draws you to it. So try to get them as similar as possible, but just changing the emotional value and then seeing what kind of effects that has on learning. Do people who use one learn differently than people who have the other valence? So what I'm looking for is artists who want to come and put together some of these pieces. I threw these images together, so if I can do it, I can teach anybody to do it. I'm not an artist. I'm a programmer, and I made these levels of art, so I can show anybody in here how to do the remaining art. So don't worry if you're not an advanced artist, but you still want to work on the project. Come on out, join the team. If you are an advanced artist and you really want to put some extra spin into it and some work into it, we'd love that as well. It'd be nice to kind of get a Grand Theft Auto kind of illustration feel to it. It would be really nice if we could do that. Depends on who we get on the team. So try not to take up too much of your time, but that's the project. I guess it doesn't really need a title, but that's the working title we're using.
The couch game.
All right. Hello, everybody. Hello, online people up there. All right. My name is Jesse Rogers. I'm the lead of Couch Game. This originally was a game jam little thing last semester. It was just one of those things where we're like, hey, let's put together this small concept and see if it'll, actually work out. It turns out it did. We got a couple of awards. We got the most fun and best art. Most fun being one of the targets that we were going for. To give a little, preview of how the game would look, this is our prototype. So essentially, you can see the core concept of this game is, cute animals chucking crates at each other, because why not? It's more of a local multiplayer battle arena casual gaming thing. Casual until you get players like Ben in the rink, then it comes to more competitive. As of right now, we're looking to go more towards the core build of the game for this semester. So, the crates, the characters. We want to get at least one good polished level. And to see most of its 3D art that we're looking towards. One of the better things about this game and how it's being built is it's all modular. So the way we're putting together the core concept, and then if we wanted to throw in, like items or other stuff, we can insert that, test it. If it doesn't work out, it takes away the fun. We can remove it quickly without it being a hassle. And this is, again, more like the land gaming. Focusing on that core concept of early gaming. When games were simple, they were small. The input methods were super small. If you remember, the old Nintendos, 2-button controls. One thing we're pushing towards is original characters. Something that we'd like the artists to really bring out, have their own feel to it. Art. We're going for a Sly Cooper type of cartoony look, mixed with the Crash Bandicoot type characters, the small legs, bigger upper bodies, make them look manly and stuff. Cell shaded for all you artists, give it that cartoony look. So milestones, we're going for all the software setup, of course, with Axel software. We're going to try to implement that as much as possible. Really connect the team, get them working together. Every 5 weeks, the milestones, which works out perfect the way the studio is doing it. We're going to have testing out in the commons for anybody, all of UAT, anybody outside of UAT, so we can get that feedback, so they can tell us what they like, what they dislike. We can help, improve the game upon that. On top of that, we get major testing, so, if they find some game-breaking bugs, we can jump right on it. Currently, we have about 10 members. Our biggest thing is we need artists and programmers, 3D, 2D, animations, all that. Programmers, they'd have to know C#. We're going to be building this in Unity. For designers, if there is any designers out there that doesn't have, kind of team or they would like to join, they can, but it's going to be mostly documentation and working with softwares like Axelsoft.
And yeah, so if you have any questions, please email me, contact me. I'll be sitting out there on that segment. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Kyrie, come on down. Can you roll in?
My game is called World of Marks. It's supposed to be an intense-based fighting game. I'm trying to make it the next best friendship killer game, pretty much. You know what I mean? Mario Party, Mario Kart, things like that. So the game is it's supposed to be a unique, character-driven, environmentally driven fighting game. It's not like your traditional based fighting games where it's mostly head-to-head or just a small circle you run around. You have to actually strategize. You have to be able to, you know, not intimidate, but like perceive your opponent's decisions just to become victorious in the game. The game is also, I'm going for a beautiful type look. It's going to be in Unreal 4, so the environment and all the texturing and characters, I want them to look good. I have access to all these different types of assets that will help the game become beautiful more. It's less that you have to do, pretty much, for artists, programmers, designers, whatever. With these assets, it makes everything a lot more easier to work with. This is one of them. It's called the Nature Procedural Pack. It's pretty much you can make your own nature environment complete with rivers, rocks, trees, landscapes, everything. Everything is in there. It makes creating your environment so much more easy and beautiful at the same time. It's a beautiful program. Another thing I have is the weather effects pack. With the game itself, it's gonna be a day-night cycle, depending on how long the players fight each other. It's a multiplayer game. It's gonna be probably 8 players or more, 4-player local maybe. But there's an event that triggers every day all throughout the time. So there's different weather effects that happen that either boost your endurance or whatever, or hurt you, depending on what it is. It's all going to be random events. At the same time, there's going to be an event. The longer you stay there, the level itself will try to kill you, pretty much. So you'll have that to worry about, as well as the opponent, which will make things interesting. They make your choices change too, as well. You need to choose to kill whatever's trying to kill you, or kill the opponent, or try to betray somebody that you're trying to work with in that, something like that. Another thing I have is the ability system. All the characters have their own abilities and spells and different things of that nature. So with this FX pack and the spell pack that I have, you'll be able to create your own customizable FX, particle effects, abilities, anything. I have over 100, I think, different types of things, from mini particle effects, tornado effects, magical effects. It doesn't matter which effect it is. With this pack that I have, you'll be able to create your own unique customizable effects that will make the game that much more better. What I'm looking for basically is anybody. All skill sets are welcomed. I have a lot of the stuff mapped out already. I have GDD, I have concepts, I have everything that needs to be done. So right now I'm just getting into the actual creating of it. I have a few prototypes that I have. This one right here is an earlier prototype. With networking, it's 2 different characters with their skill sets and abilities. All the player abilities are balanced, sort of, right now. I have to look more into that, but right now, all the characters can do different things. They have their own ability sets, their own move sets. For example, like that one, that character can turn invisible with the day to night cycle and everything that's going on right there. And here is the latest build. I have the HUD working as much as I can right now. I have, as you can see, you can make the weather effects change. I want this to be a unique game. So the world itself is not your traditional world. It's like purple fog or red lightning that have like a fire effect if you get hit by it, things of that nature. So that's my game. I look forward to anybody else who's willing to work it out with me. Thank you.
developers in the house that want to share with us your progress or recruit? I see a couple of you out there. Ryan. I see Noah. No? Okay. All right. We definitely want to support the rogue developers as they independently develop their games because they are the next games that we want to see greenlit. So if you know them, go ahead and approach them and find out where they are in their process, and maybe you can help them out also. There are some what we call subcontractors in the house, so leads be aware of that as we start to break here to answer questions and play test, whatever you have to offer in the commons area. Right now, subcontractors are from GAA courses, and they're only here to do one thing for you. So that might be provide pixel art. It might be providing game environment assets or FX. So be sure to find out who they are, why they're here, and find out if they are in the GAA 281, 381, or 481 courses. There's a big difference there in what they can provide for you. So we're going to break now. Out to the comments for the sign up. If everybody's done.
Okay, I got one more thing.
I'm going to finish this one thought.
Sit.
Everybody's observation that you are on a project today. If you have any difficulty at all with that, please approach one of the professors and it can help make sure that you get on a team today.
Okay, one last thing that's kind of exciting. I want to thank the Game Collab for this. Ben was kind enough to donate to us a stand-up arcade cabinet. So we now have, it's up in the faculty area right now. If you follow Twitter, you saw Ben and I playing games on it. But by about week 3, I should be rolling it out and setting it up somewhere down here. And we are going to put your guys' builds on that machine so people can, anybody walks into the building can stand there and play them. So be thinking about that. About week 3-ish, I'm going to be asking for builds in order to put on that. So I'm getting the branding, I'm getting some of the site artwork and stuff done, putting a new computer in it. But I'm thinking by about week 3, I should have all that done so that there'll be an arcade cabinet with all the UAT Game Studios games on it. So kind of something I've been wanting to do for about the last 6 to 8 months, and I've just finally now got all the pieces together. So be thinking about that as you're building your stuff. I'm going to be begging for builds to put on it so that people can play your games. That's all I had.
The question I had is what is the arcade cabinet use, like keyboard and mouse?
It's got a keyboard and mouse that comes out. It's also got joysticks and buttons depending on the game. But yeah, there's a keyboard and mouse. Yeah, because a lot of our games aren't necessarily classic arcade games. So.
Cool. Now I guess you can. Yeah, just a reminder at 3:30, Leeds meeting at 2:07. 2:07. Yeah, 3:30. Room 207. Well, let's slide out somewhere.